Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going on a profound and honestly a pretty surprising emotional journey. We are going to look at the very concept of happiness. But we're not getting this from the perspective of a billionaire or some trendy lifestyle guru. Instead, we are drawing from some of the most unexpected experts on living a meaningful life, palliative care patients. These are people who are at the very end of their lives, yet, somehow, they possess a joy that many completely healthy people never even find. It's a fascinating look at what truly, actually matters.
Okay, let's dive into this. To really grasp why this matters so much, we have to look at a kind of startling paradox, beautifully illustrated by the country of France. So a recent study highlighted this incredible contradiction. On one hand, you have a nation that arguably provides the most social benefits in the entire world. Yet on the other hand, they are literally crowned the world champions of pessimism, possessing some of the most miserable people. It's wild when you think about it. We talk endlessly about social inequalities, but this explainer is going to focus on something entirely different, and maybe even more important, happiness inequalities.
So where are we getting our insights today? Enter Sandra Mounier. She is an art therapist who has spent over a decade working in adult palliative and cancer care units. But get this, she doesn't just walk in with a clipboard and a white coat. She enters as a Nesdwal. It's a fantasy character she created, specially trained in therapeutic aid. Basically, her entire mission is to literally blow the desire for life back into the room and wake up happiness for people facing the absolute darkest moments of their lives. And what she discovered in those hospital rooms, it's going to change how you look at your own life. The core truth Sandra discovered is that we simply do not have equal opportunities when it comes to our joy resources. When faced with serious illness or imminent death, some people reveal these deep, boundless reservoirs of happiness, while others, well, they have absolutely none. It's like the ultimate test of the glass half empty or half full mindset, right? Except here, the stakes are literally life and death. To give you an idea of what a massive reservoir of joy actually looks like, listen to this incredible story. Sandra was visiting a man with advanced stage rectal cancer. He's lying in a hospital bed and he is just weeping. But actually, scratch that. He's not crying from sadness. He's surrounded by his family, holding their hands, and he tells them, "Those are tears of joy. I am very happy you are here all around me." Instead of complaining about his terrible physical condition, he is entirely content. He sings, he laughs. His body is failing him, but his spirit is radiantly alive. So, the absolutely crucial point here is this. True joy requires focusing on a state of being that is bigger than the body. Think about it. If you tie your entire happiness to your physical health or your external circumstances, you are going to lose it the very second those things start to deteriorate. But if you can cultivate an intimate, intrinsic joy, a feeling of connection and spirit that transcends your physical form, you can find happiness even from a hospital bed. Let's move on and see how this builds, because amazingly, this mindset can actually be taught. Sandra met another patient who is literally curled up in a fetal position, totally stuck in a victim mentality. He just kept asking, "Why me? I don't deserve this." So Sandra gently guided him to shift that perspective. She invited him to evoke his happiest memories: nature, the sea, his beloved trips to Croatia. By focusing on that joy, his entire demeanor shifted. He went from a victim to a creator of his own experience, and he famously declared, "My heart is far bigger than the disease." He changed his whole reality simply by choosing to wake up his joy.
And then, there are patients who are just desperate to pass this wisdom on to those of us who are healthy. Take Danielle, for example. She is a 41-year-old patient who is paralyzed, incontinent, and fighting tooth and nail for her life. Yet, she makes the absolute most of every single moment with her husband, and she cries in frustration because she tells her healthy friends to live fully, and they just don't hear her. She begs the question, why don't people know how incredibly lucky they are to just be healthy?
Patients like Daniela teach us that even the most painful experience can be a profound inspiration. Sandra often asks her patients a really deep question: what is the new opportunity in this illness? One man, who had basically run himself ragged his entire life and felt totally empty, sat and thought about this for 30 whole minutes before answering. His realization? The new opportunity was that he was finally, truly forced to live in the present moment. The illness stripped away all the distractions and left only the essential.
Which brings us to a really fundamental shift in how we view our lives. As a society, we are super focused on perceived wealth, right? We link our happiness to what we possess, our status, our careers, the whole shebang. But at the end of life, as people lose absolutely everything physical, they discover real wealth. The profound realization is that the key to living isn't in your bank account. It resides entirely in your heart.
Here is a beautiful example of finding that wealth in the heart. Sandra met a deeply depressed elderly lady.
And why was she depressed? Because of her physical limitations. She couldn't shop, she couldn't clean, she couldn't host dinners anymore. So Sandra took her hand, gave her this wave of love, and asked, "Can you still do this?" The lady smiled, and a whole new door opened for her. She realized she could still give and receive love. Then, the lady admitted she still really enjoyed looking at handsome men and pretty girls. She found incredible freedom just in contemplating beauty. Her energy completely transformed just by shifting her focus.
Right after helping that elderly lady, Sandra turned to a waiting room full of patients and asked them this exact question: who has watched the flowers grow recently? Everyone just looked down and said no. I want to ask you the same question right now. When was the last time you took a minute to observe something so simple yet so deeply tied to what really matters? We rush past the beauty of life every single day.
So, how do we fix this? How do we actually stop rushing past the flowers? Well, through her years of experience, Sandra distilled the wisdom of her patients into what she calls the grammar rules of happiness. Now, these aren't just nice little thoughts. They are 7 essential truths and, most importantly, daily practices. You have to practice joy every day. Let's break these rules down.
All right, here are the first 2 rules. Rule 1, happiness is now. It's in the present tense. Don't wait until you are on your deathbed to realize that this very moment is where life happens. And rule 2, give meaning to what you experience. Whether it's a boring routine Tuesday or a massive challenge, you have the power to assign meaning to it. You can shift yourself from being a passive victim to an active creator of your life story.
And this brilliantly illustrates the real urgency of these lessons. Rule 3, make your dreams happen before it's too late. Please, don't let your healthy years slip away in a fog of hesitation. And rule 4, realize that the mere fact of living is already wonderful. Just breathing, just being able to step outside and watch the flowers grow, that is a miracle. Put joy into everything you do because the act of living itself is a gift.
Moving right along to Rule 5, smile even more. Seriously, it's physically and emotionally way easier than wearing a scowl, and it instantly transforms the energy you bring into a room. Coupled with Rule 6, be satisfied with what you have instead of endlessly wanting more. Remember that comparison we made earlier between perceived wealth and real wealth? Chasing the next possession is a surefire recipe for the exact pessimism and misery we saw at the beginning of this explainer.
And finally, the big one, the most important rule of them all. Rule 7, love, and show it in all your actions. This right here on the screen, this is your complete toolkit. If you want a meaningful life, this is your blueprint. And notice something important here. None of these require wealth, status, or even perfect health. They simply require a conscious, daily decision to engage with the world from a place of love and presence.
Sandra's overarching message to all of us is to become creators, to be joy artists. People are always telling her she has this extraordinary job, but she actually corrects them. She says it's just an ordinary job that she consciously chooses to do in an extraordinary way. And you know what? You can do exactly the same thing. Whatever your job is, whatever your social success, the most important thing is how you manage to put meaning and joy into your daily routine.
I want to leave you with this final, kind of provocative thought. We cannot control everything that happens to us in this world. We can't always change life, but can you change your perception of it? Can you put your joy clothes on today? Let's stop being champions of misfortune. Take a page from the incredible resilience of those at the end of their lives and realize that your heart is infinitely bigger than your circumstances. Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer. Now go out there and watch the flowers grow.